Kristoff, Stormdancer. We will be reacting to this book. We will be reacting to our reviews of Yukiko's complete cultural appropriation story of Kristoff just basically giving Japanese people the biggest insult in 1,000 years. That's not really it, but it is technically the definition of an insult. Okay, so we found the first one. Kat Kennedy says, I need to take a moment to do something before beginning this review. Applause. No, not applause. In my opinion, no applause. What is that? Wow, that looks interesting. Stormdancer is a fantasy nerdgasm written by a fantasy nerd for the fantasy nerds. And if it sounds, first of all, it is a lot of fantasy. It is a lot of fantasy. There's quite a lot of fantastical elements, but if you really want fantasy nerdgasm, I mean, go read Poppy War or the Stormlight Archive or so many of these books by so many epic, amazing fantasy authors who have a lot of fantasy elements. This story has little fantasy. It's a steampunk fantasy. Come on, dude. It's not a nerdgasm. It's a steampunkgasm with a lot of cultural appropriation. And if it sounds like I just, pilfered some of the Gettysburg Address, then that's because Abraham Lincoln riding a grizzly bear was just about the only damn thing missing from this book. I mean, I can see why you love it. I mean, we have Lincoln with a... This is from America, I believe. And riding a bear with the American flag here. Is he sitting on the American flag? I have no idea. And he's holding the Constitution. Yeah, I can see why you like it. You genuinely just don't give a fuck. Subsequently, my life's now complete. Congratulations, man. If your life has really been completed by Stormdancer, maybe you should evaluate your life. I know, just my opinion, I love Buru. I just want to say I love Buru, and I think Yukiko is an average, above average protagonist. Wendy, she says, the thing is, the reason why this book is so fantastic, partially why I also had trouble with its beginning. The writing is beautiful, with a strong world building and meticulous attention to detail. That left me slack-jawed with awe at times. But there is far too much description in the first 100 pages or so. This book, the whole shtick is less than 400 pages. I think it's less than 350 pages. The version I read, the ebook I read was 340 something like that pages. This is not a long book. I had no issue with that, where the story plods along very slowly. I do have to agree that up to the point, when Yukiko decides to rescue the griffin, the thunder tiger, Buru, well, up to that point the story is very, very slow. So up to that point there's not much action. And then here is other things I loved: the action and fight sequences, chainsaw, katanas, the scenes. Actually, the fight scenes were quite average. I mean, look, maybe it's because when I read this book, I was reading Words of Radiance, second book in the Stormlight Archive. If you're ever reading Brandon Sanderson, everyone else's action scenes will look shitty to you. Everyone's action scenes will look shitty to you. Genuinely, I think this book, Stormdancer, is a tragedy. I think it's a tragedy. And the primary reason why I think it's a tragedy is because, first of all, we have to talk about, is this book bad because it has terrible writing? In other words, the story craft, the craft of storytelling, is it terrible in this story, in this book? Or is it hated because, the book basically is an insult to an entire group of people by taking their culture, butchering it, and then using it as a marketing gimmick, and then saying this book is, Japanese. Well, I have to tell you that the reason why this book is hated, the reason why I hate it, is primarily because I really don't like how it is a complete insult to an entire group of people. Maybe you don't give a fuck about this. Maybe you're one of those, white people who really doesn't care about this stuff. But you have to understand, people care about their culture. If you take their culture, if you butcher it, and then if you present it to your fellow brothers, to your fellow countrymen as, hey, look at this. This is what Japanese people behave like. This book is 100% from Japan. Like the people in here, they behave like they behave like people from Japan. Well, I'm gonna tell you the reality. People are not going to accept that. You would not like it if someone, took someone from your culture, butchered it, and then told their brothers, hey, look at this person. This is a completely normal, white fella from X country. You understand? So ultimately, what you have to understand here is this book is not bad because it has terrible craft. No, this book is bad because it is an insult to an entire group of people. And I hate this book, not because I really think Yukiko is a terrible protagonist. For instance, in Shadow and Bone, I really think Elena Starkov is a terrible protagonist. In Wizard's First Rule, I think, Richard Cypher is a terrible protagonist. There are so many stories out there, like so many books out there, where I think the protagonist is either below average or just completely abysmal. Yukiko is, she's an above average girl, okay? She's an above average protagonist. She is active, she's proactive, she's, very proactive. She's not passive. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the problem with this book, also, the world building, if you look at it as a steampunk, is not bad. The biggest problem here is how this book is a cultural assassination. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I am suspecting there's going to be quite, in the one-star reviews, I'm suspecting people will be talking about how this book is an insult. Warning, unpopular opinion incoming. This book made me really effing mad. I will admit, I was a little leery of Stormdancer from the start. Japanese steampunk sounds cool, but coming from a white Western, see, it immediately goes into it because you see, these people, they're not crazy leftists. These people actually know what the fuck they're talking about. These people know the cultures that this book is supposedly talking about. Therefore, they know when there is a, terrible lie, when there is a terrible, representation. So they really know what they're talking about. They're not just, delusional leftists, as some people would like to think. They actually know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what you have here, all of these people will tell you if you read, well, there's a lot of reviews, but wow, they actually went into far more detail than I did. Let me see, Sama. That is more than fair. Oh yeah. As I bless your kindness, Sama. I went for nothing. Thank you, Sama. He's okay, young Sama, the sea dragon who consumed the island of Tsukiyama. Yeah, let's start with my primary nails on a chalkboard issue. The usage of the words hi and Sama, shall we? You see, these people, these people who are writing this review, these one-star reviews, they actually speak, a lot of them speak the language, a lot of them are from Japan. They know what the fuck they're talking about. They know when they see bullshit, okay? So, shall we hear a few examples of these words in action, Stormdancer, etc. That's not how you use those. You see, genuinely speaking from the bottom of my heart, because I don't speak the language, I did not know if this was a wrong use. This is the first time I'm seeing actually someone complain about this. I did complain about the behavior because I have actually interacted with people from Japan. They don't behave anything like most of the characters, like 99% of the characters in the story. And there's nothing wrong with having a one rebel character. But all of the cast is basically just composed of rebels who behave like Americans. But they don't really behave like people from Japan. That was my main issue. But I didn't know this was also another issue. God, I should read these reviews actually. Either of those? Come on now. Sama is a suffix. And honor. See, man, they're delving into the language. You know, these people know what they're talking about. This book fucked up remarkably, bad when it comes to how it just terribly represents an entire culture. So you see, when I read the 5-star reviews, people are talking about the craft. Yeah, this book is bad, not because it has bad craft, but because it is an insult to an entire group of people. Simple as that. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end this review. I hope that you did, reading of reviews, right? It's not an actual review. My review of this book is up and you can check it out. I hope that you did enjoy this. Have a nice day. Bye.